Nearly 2 billion Muslims on this earth. One God, one Quran, one Prophet. From the outside, they look completely united. The largest, most connected religious community in human history. But for 1400 years, something has quietly divided them. Not a different God, not a different book, not even a different prophet. Just one unanswered question, asked on one single day. Over 14 centuries ago, and the answer, or rather the fact that nobody could agree on the answer, split one faith into two paths that still run parallel today, sometimes peacefully, sometimes not. Sunni, Shia. You have heard these words in news, in politics, in conversations about the Middle East. But do you actually know what they mean, where they came from, and how two people reading the exact same Quran can pray differently, lead differently, and grieve differently? Today, we find out. Welcome to PastPortals, where we learn English through history, one story at a time. Subscribe right now. Let's begin. The year is 632 AD. The city of Medina, Arabia. The Prophet Muhammad has just died. In just 23 years, this one man transformed an entire region. He united dozens of constantly fighting Arab tribes under one faith, one community, one shared identity. He built something completely new, something Arabia had never seen before. And now he was gone. The community was in shock, grieving, afraid, and one urgent question filled every room, every conversation, every worried face. Who leads us now? The Prophet had not left a clear written answer. And that silence, that one unanswered question, became the crack that would eventually split Islam into two. Two groups formed almost immediately, both sincere, both certain they were right. The first group said, the new leader should be chosen by the community, by the senior companions who knew the Prophet best, the most wise, most experienced, most respected man available. They chose Abu Bakr, the Prophet's oldest and closest friend, a man who had sacrificed everything to walk beside Muhammad from the very beginning. This group became what we call Sunni Muslims. The word Sunni comes from Sunnah, meaning the practice and way of the Prophet. Around 85 to 90% of Muslims today are Sunni. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia. Sunni majority countries. The second group said, no, leadership must stay within the Prophet's own blood. It must go to Ali, the Prophet's cousin, his son-in-law, the husband of his beloved daughter Fatima. Ali had grown up inside the Prophet's own home. He carried the Prophet's family in his heart and in his bloodline. This group became what we call Shia Muslims. The word Shia comes from Shiat Ali, meaning followers of Ali. Around 10 to 15% of Muslims today are Shia. Iran, Iraq, Bahrain, Shia majority countries. Two sincere beliefs, two groups who both loved the same Prophet, both certain they were honoring him correctly, both unable to find middle ground. Now, how do these two paths actually look different in daily life? Walk into a mosque. Watch someone stand for prayer. A Sunni will fold his hands across his chest, right hand over left. A Shia will let his arms rest straight down at his sides. They believe this was the Prophet's original posture in the early years of Islam. Then watch them bow down in prostration. The moment of deepest humility in prayer. A Sunni places his forehead directly onto the prayer mat. A Shia places his forehead onto a small piece of clay, specifically clay from Karbala, the holy ground where the Prophet's grandson was killed. For Shia, even in the most private moment of prayer, the memory of Karbala is present. Sunnis pray 5 separate times daily: Fajr, Du, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, each in its own specific time slot. Shia also have 5 obligatory prayers, but are permitted to combine them into 3 sessions daily: Dur with Asr and Maghrib with Isha. Even the call to prayer, the Adhan, carries a difference. In the Shia Adhan, after the standard phrases, one additional line is added: "Come to the best of deeds." 4 Arabic words that immediately tell you which tradition you are listening to. Same prayer, same direction, small but deeply meaningful differences in how they perform it. Now, who tells them how to practice their faith? For Sunnis, religious guidance comes from the Quran and the recorded sayings and actions of the Prophet. Over centuries, 4 great schools of Islamic law developed, named after the scholars who founded them. Hanafi, followed widely in Turkey and South Asia. Maliki, dominant across North and West Africa. Shafi, common in Southeast Asia. Hanbali, predominant in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf. Importantly, Sunnis consider all 4 schools valid. A Sunni can follow any of them. Religious leadership is a matter of scholarship and knowledge, not bloodline. For Shia, this is completely different. Shia believe the true interpretation of the Quran can only come through the 12 Imams, direct descendants of the Prophet through Ali and Fatima. These Imams were considered infallible, meaning divinely protected from error, not just leaders, living spiritual guides carrying knowledge passed directly from the Prophet himself. But the 12th Imam, according to Shia belief, went into a hidden state in 874 AD. He is not dead, he is hidden, and he will return at the end of times. Until then, every Shia Muslim must follow a living senior scholar, a grand Ayatollah, someone like Ayatollah Sistani in Iraq. They follow his rulings on every question of modern life. Sunnis follow ancient schools. Shia follow a living authority. 2 very different relationships with religious guidance. And then, there is Ashura, the 10th day of the Islamic month of Muharram. For Sunnis, Ashura is a day of fasting and gratitude, the day God saved Moses and the children of Israel from Pharaoh, a day of remembrance and quiet reflection. For Shia, Ashura is the most defining day of their entire religious identity. It marks the day in 680 AD when Husayn, Ali's son, the Prophet's own grandson, was surrounded at a place called Karbala, with only 72 companions. Outnumbered by thousands, he was offered his life if he would simply pledge loyalty to a ruler he believed was corrupt and unjust. He refused. Husayn and almost all his companions were killed. The Prophet's grandson left on the ground at Karbala. Every single year, hundreds of millions of Shia Muslims gather on Ashura and weep for Husayn. They wear black. They march in processions. They listen to the story of Karbala told with such raw emotion that entire crowds break down in tears, not because they are stuck in grief, but because what Husayn did, choosing justice over survival, standing against oppression when every logical reason said to stay silent, feels eternally painfully relevant to every generation that comes after him. Karbala is not just history for Shia Muslims, it is a living wound and a living inspiration. One last difference worth understanding. Both Sunni and Shia are completely united on Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. Every year they stand shoulder to shoulder, circling the same Kaaba, praying to the same God, no division, no separation. But Shia also practice a second form of pilgrimage, visiting the shrines of the Imams, the golden domed shrine of Husayn in Karbala, the shrine of Ali in Najaf. Millions travel to these places every year seeking spiritual connection to the Prophet's family. Many Sunnis, particularly those following stricter schools, are uncomfortable with this. They believe praying at shrines can lead toward worshiping something other than God alone. You will rarely find elaborate shrines in Sunni-majority regions, but in Shia cities, those golden domes rising above everything else are not just architecture. They are identity. My friends, here is what this story really is. It is not a story about two groups who hate each other. It is a story about two groups of people who loved the same man so deeply that when he died, they could not agree on how to honor him. And that disagreement, carried across 1,400 years of history, politics, and pain, grew into something neither group in 632 AD could have ever imagined. Both Sunni and Shia read the same Quran, fast the same Ramadan, face the same direction in prayer, believe in the same God and the same Prophet. The divide is real. The differences are real. The pain on both sides is real. But so is everything they share. And perhaps understanding that, truly understanding it, is where any conversation worth having has to begin. Subscribe to PastPortals if this story gave you something today. And drop one word in the comments. Just write Karbala below. It tells me this story reached you. Take care. Keep being curious. Goodbye from PastPortals.